I used to think that only geniuses could understand an MIT class, but I'm learning that couldn't be further from the truth. If you're new, these videos track the progress of going through 12 MIT computer science classes that comprise an MIT computer science degree through the courses available on MIT OpenCourseWare. As I go along, I'm tracking how long it takes a student to go through all of these courses, and my hope is to make these courses have the learning experience of Khan Academy, so that in the end, this project will represent a seamless learning experience from the content available on Khan Academy all the way through a full MIT computer science degrees worth of content, all for free. Now, with that being said, from March 21st to June 12th, I clocked a total of 254.33 hours of math, which comes out to roughly 183 minutes per day. And in that time frame, I completed 18.01, which is MIT's single variable calculus. Now, the original route that I was trying to take this project on in terms of developing it was I was going to learn all this content, adapt it, make a first prototype, and then people can start using it and I can gain feedback and do that. In the learning process, I thought I would take what MIT wanted me to have as prerequisites before I began all of these computer science classes. I would offload those onto Khan Academy, learn the stuff there, then jump back onto the MIT stuff because I love the learning experience that Khan Academy offers. And they had a lot of the courses that MIT wanted as prerequisites. So I just thought, why don't we learn it over here? I love this learning experience. And then we'll jump over to the MIT stuff and start taking that on. Now, the problem with that type of thinking, potentially, it's untested yet, but potentially, is that transition. Going from the Khan Academy stuff to the MIT stuff. How do you make that transition as seamless as possible for the most amount of people? Sure, there could be some really, really smart people that can jump from this to here and make that huge climb if there is one, but how do we make that transition as seamless as possible? Because that transition is so important. When you're learning, it's momentum, right? You're going from one class to another, and you keep building on that momentum. You're so excited to learn this one thing, or maybe you're not, but you're like, hey, I need to learn this so I can jump over here, so I can learn the skill that I'm super excited about, so I can build this project. And that is exciting to you. And that's what keeps you going. It's what gets you over those obstacles. It's what gets you over those hurdles while you're learning something new. It's like, oh, it's right over there. I want to get there so I can start making this stuff. And that is super exciting. But there is nothing that kills learning momentum like going from one class where you feel like everything's going great and you're like, man, this is awesome, I got this. And then you jump to the next class and you're like, where am I? This is completely foreign to me. It is so hard. I feel like you've cheated me because that last class was so easy and now I'm over here and I understand nothing. How did I get here? And that amount of friction is what kills learning momentum. And it makes you super frustrated and it makes you feel lost and helpless. And that is exactly what you don't want to feel when you're learning something new. So how do we take careful care of that transition? And I was thinking to myself, okay, I know the stuff that's on the Khan Academy site for all of these classes. Now I really want to pay careful detail and make sure that those are good enough and that there's enough there so that a person going from Khan Academy onto this MIT stuff can feel confident that they can make that jump, that they can make that transition, and that it is seamless. So, what does Khan Academy need that MIT wants that Khan Academy is currently missing? That is the lens that I'm viewing these through. Essentially, MIT wants you to take all of these courses in math and physics in your freshman year that prepare you for the actual degree stuff that you'll be working on in your next couple of years. And that's offloaded what I thought onto Khan Academy. Now, I'm taking the MIT version of those and I'm seeing what is Khan Academy missing? What do I need to throw at it so that both of these can feel equal, so that someone can move on? and feel confident that they can. That's the lens I was viewing this course through. So I want to talk about the similarities I found between these two entities, the major difference I saw, and how I think we can bridge these two together in a super exciting and awesome way. So first, the similarities that I found in these two courses was one major one that was very encouraging and exciting, and that is this. Both a calculus BC course and this single variable calculus course are virtually the same in their structure. So, meaning there's not some crazy secret unit that only the MIT students get that nobody else in calculus world gets. Nope, they're virtually the same. Basically, you'll learn what a derivative is, how it's applied, then you'll jump over to what an integral is and how an integral is applied, and then you'll have an ending little unit on series. Both of them in their structure is virtually the same. And in fact, I like Khan Academy's learning and teaching a lot, to the point where oftentimes if I was confused on a way that MIT taught a certain topic area, I would just jump over to Khan Academy and they would explain it, in my opinion, much better. So that's awesome. And the major difference that I saw was this. The MIT problems were far more difficult. That didn't mean that they were super different. They were just far more difficult and dressed up, and you had to think a lot more through them. There weren't any of the freebie kind of problems that you get in your BC calculus course in high school or anywhere else. These were MIT level problems, and they were understandably a little harder. And that major difference between them, I don't think should be a horrible thing. I think it's a great way to grow, right? And one of the major differences was how they asked a specific type of problem. And I'll give you a specific example. When you learn the mean value theorem in calculus on Khan Academy or in high school or something like that, they'll ask you a question where they want you to find the C value that represents a specific C in which the mean value theorem is stating exists. They'll have you find that specific C. Whereas on MIT, they'll be like, man, we really don't like that type of question at all. So we're not going to ask you that. We want you to instead use the mean value theorem for what it's actually used for, in proving that a function is increasing, decreasing, or constant over an interval. And we also want you to prove inequalities of functions using the mean value theorem. So those are proof-based problems that are far harder than something you'd be asked on Khan Academy for one piece of content. And that kind of continues, that kind of theme of asking a little harder question or asking questions where you need to derive stuff continues throughout the course. But that doesn't mean that you can't do it, right? Learning the elementary stuff allows you to be able to have the understanding to be like, okay, I can solve this little harder problem if you just give me some practice with it. So that is where I think these two entities can combine. And that's where it gets really exciting. Khan Academy is predicated on a mastery learning system. So after you get, I think 90%, they call you a master at that content area. So what if you were to have a system on Khan Academy where after you get 90% mastery, you unlock grandmaster exercises, activities, problems. Basically, you have a full MIT database worth of problems that you unlock once you reach mastery. And I think that works well for two reasons. Number one, you can have kids be able to brag to their friends like, hey man, I understand this. I just did MIT level problems. And they'll be like, whoa, what? And number two, it allows that seamless learning experience to exist. You're not jumping off to another site to work on these problems. It's right here in a comfortable learning experience that you're accustomed to. It's the Khan Academy learning experience. You're just getting delivered MIT problems. And I think that's how you can combine these two things. And that's what excites me. And that's something that I'm going to build once I get to the prototyping stage of what I'm working on here. So in conclusion, next I'm going to work on classical mechanics and multivariable calculus, the MIT versions of those, and same thing, I'll be applying that lens to what's different between the Khan Academy versions. And if you're interested at all, I keep my data in a Notion database down below. Take a look at that if you would like. Thank you so much for watching, and onwards.